Those of you guys that know me well know that I love coffee. And it doesn't make me particularly individual or different. But I see a metaphor in the way coffee has evolved and fitness. And if you don't already know that coffee is the second most exported product in the world, which means it's enjoyed by many people. But coffee in itself seems very simple. You have a coffee bean that's roasted, and then it's ground up, and then you pour hot water through it in some way. Pressurized, boiled, whatever, right? That's the gist of it. And it seems simple enough. In Europe, for some time, there was other ways to have a brewed cup of coffee where with the espresso you would have maybe some frothed milk or steamed milk, whatever it is, cappuccino, latte. But for the most part, and most of it was just a simple brewed coffee of some way. And you put a little bit of milk and sugar, cream and sugar, whatever it is, or some sweetener of some kind. And then comes along Starbucks, and things got super complicated, super fast. You were able to put some whipped cream or some flavor shots. You could put it over ice. You could blend it. You can add some this, some that extract, double this to that, fancy new names and everything. And then beyond that, pod coffee started to become a thing where you could at any moment just press a button and have, a little pod in the machine, run some water, and you got the coffee that you want. And depending on the barcode on that thing, you got a different type of coffee. Fascinating thing, but it made something pretty simple become exponentially more complicated. When I started making coffee for myself and working in places that I worked at, I started to understand the complexity of it, just like fitness for that example. But so making coffee, how much pressure you push into the coffee grinds when you're making espresso, for example, has an influence on how fast it comes out, how it tastes, how much caffeine is in it, etc., how fine or coarse the coffee grind is. So the coarser the grind, the faster the water walks through it, runs through it. Just the same thing as how much you pressurize it. The type of beans made a difference. I even learned at one point you could put a couple grains of salt in the espresso, and it would actually cut some of the bitterness away. But don't tell that to the coffee connoisseurs. And on top of that, too, the amount of grams of coffee that you put in the handle itself had an influence on the coffee in the end. What ended up happening was my understanding of coffee changed, and the excitement of how you made it changed, and the experience of coffee changed for me. But that only took some time of being part of it. If you look at coffee as what it is, for most people, they want the effect of coffee more than the experience. And that's how most people start. Coincidentally, that's how most people start in fitness. They don't want the experience of the fitness. They want the result of fitness, not being out of breath, being in the shape that they want, losing the fat that they want, having the muscles that they want, looking a certain way. It's only after time working with coffee and drinking coffee that the experience of drinking coffee in itself becomes a thing, or the experience of making coffee becomes a thing. Again, just like fitness. I think for some people, it's after they've gotten hooked on fitness itself, they wouldn't want the shortcut to the end result because they enjoy the process along the way, the socialization, the experience, the mental toughness, the proving that you're capable, the confidence, all that kind of stuff, right? It's only after some time that people who drink coffee and people who are involved in fitness enjoy the experience of it. And if we look at coffee, for example, it's sometimes people enjoy the experience of going to the coffee shop and having the coffee more than making that exact same coffee at home for 1/10 of the price. But just like coffee and fitness, the basics will always work. And you could always overcomplicate it, as we look at Starbucks, for example. There's ways to overcomplicate coffee, and there's always ways to overcomplicate fitness. The truth of the matter is, though, you can't go wrong with any way that you do it. Any way that you have coffee, any way that you do your fitness, it doesn't matter because it's the end result you're trying to get to. And some people enjoy the experience more than the result after some time. Some people prefer a certain type of experience. And that is all individual. And that's what matters the most. Just do it the way that you want to do it. Do it the way that helps you get the result you're looking for. The effect of coffee, the effect of fitness. Sometimes you just choose the path that gets you there the most enjoyable way. Sometimes you just do what you need to, just shoot a straight shot of espresso without sugar because you want the result of it, not the actual experience. So again, just like fitness, just like coffee, there's ways you can overcomplicate it. You can start worrying about every little detail. Pounds of per square inch, the pressure, the amount of fineness of the bean, the amount of water that goes through the type of bean, where it comes from in the world. But you can worry about every little detail if you really wanted to. But in the end, it's the cup of coffee you need to get to. It's this cup of coffee and the effect it has on your body that really matter. So you can get as fine detailed as you want. You can get overcomplicate as much as you want, but the basics will always work. The cup of coffee, the basic black coffee will work just as well as the Frappuccino version at Starbucks. You can't go wrong with any way that you do it because it's about the sustainability, the result of it, just sticking to it. Just do it the way you want. Have the cup of coffee the way you want. Do the fitness the way that you want. Because just as we said, you can overcomplicate it. You could make it bare bones. The basics will always work, of course, but you really can't go wrong with just being part of it.